What's up, everybody? It's Alex from Heavy New York. We are at Duff's Alcohol Abuse Center in Brooklyn, New York. And today we are here with the almighty Mayhem. We are here with Necrobutcher. Thank you for your time today.
Sure thing.
Yep. It's awesome to have you here. Your newest record, Daemon, absolutely beautiful. Do you consider this just picking up where you left off after Esoteric Warfare, or do you think that this is a new start for Mayhem and like a brand new beginning?
It's definitely not anything to do with that album. This time around, I think first of all, this is the best work. What I'm most proud of since, let's say, Chimera that came up in 2004. So this is like our best stuff in 15 years. Mainly, I think, probably because this one is, the lack of a better word, live friendly. It means that it has elements that can be reproduced live. And that the last two albums really didn't have that. Historic Warfare and All That KO. It was more like it was great albums and stuff, but it was hard to reproduce live. But this one is no. This one is live friendly. At least half of the songs we're gonna do live. So it's nothing. Has nothing to do with the last two albums at all, and I think maybe that these guys now been in the band 19 years. Finally, it had to take some time to mature into the and plus that I think it sounds a little bit more mature. It's stupid to say, but when I listened to it, I was thinking to myself, this is some of the riffs is built on emotions and like something you have inside, and to be able to share that with people, you have to be pretty mature, you know. And I think that's what happened to both Gul and Telok, that they now felt more free to do whatever, and then this is more the truth. The rest was riddled up in all kind of mathematical formulas, you know, and the lyrics all kind of conspiracy theories and stuff. So now we just came down to this, you know, which was a very natural thing for us to do. Yeah.
Awesome. What I find unique is because, like, you kind of, in a way, answered this question, but I feel like, you know, I could tell what song is off of Esoteric Warfare, what's off of, you know, a Grand Declaration of War, or Chimera, and all these other albums. When it comes to getting inspired to write music, do you have to put yourself in a certain element in order for inspiration to come, or do you just get an idea or inspiration out of nowhere sometimes?
Yeah. No, that's both, all of the above. Comes from all angles and angles. You can, like, for example, the lyric which I wrote for this album, Bad Blood. I came home from a tour, had problems to sleep, was fucked up, tired, and but pissed off, really fucking pissed off. And I was so pissed off that I was laying in bed, angry as fuck. I'm thinking, fuck, I gotta try to get some of this down on a piece of paper, because this is so powerful feelings. So I woke up in the middle of the night and wrote this shit down, and that became that lyric. So yeah.
So you really capture a moment when writing songs. It's not like you try to work on something for a long span of time.
Not me. I'm not built like that way. But I'm also add to this that I didn't have anything to do with the writing of the music this time.
Okay.
I mean, back in the 80s, yeah. But we hired people who were much better songwriters than I am. I'm a bass guitarist, and these guys, you know, like, so I acknowledge that and let them do the songwriting.
Okay. One thing I was always actually curious about, not even just for your band, but for black metal in general, you know, with Necrobutcher and Attila and Faust, Nurgle, you name it, are these names or these aliases that you go by, are these extensions of who you are off stage, or are these characters that are just completely different from who you are? You portray somebody very different on stage or in the album than who you are personally?
No, I am the same guy, always. But the name Necrobutcher has nothing to do with that necrophiliac or something like that. It was the name spawned out when I was about around 16 years old, and all my favorite bands like Hellhammer, Venom, they all have cool nicknames. So we basically stole all the nicknames out of Celtic Frosts and Hellhammer. Hellhammer is Hellhammer, Maniac is Maniac, Necrobutcher, Slade Necros, that was the drummer. Uh, so that was just some names we picked up for ourselves. Uh, and the, and there was somebody that told me that okay, you can't put these two names together because it's wrong grammatic. Necrobutcher, it's not. You can't really put these two names together. And I'm thinking this is perfect because it's that tells people that this guy must be fucking insane to come up with this thing that's not even grammatically right or correct. So I was thinking to myself, that's perfect. I keep that. Let's keep that. And now, since it's been with me now for 35 years, I walk down the street, anybody say necro or anybody say urine, I don't react in it anymore. It's just, it's a nickname. So nobody, and I don't think people really think that, oh, he must be necrophiliac. I don't get that feeling. Nobody's talked to me about that because it's the same with, like, put it in the comparison to, for example, Rolling Stones. When you break it down, okay, it's built on that Mama was a Rolling Stone. No, it was a Bob Dylan track. No, it was, who fuck was it? Was Bo Diddley? Some old guy had that track. And then Rolling Stones picked that up and named the band after that. And when you break it down and think about Rolling Stones, that's a fucking stupid name, isn't it? It's a fucking retard name. But today nobody thinks about it, and everybody calls them Stones. Just like a pet name, the Stones.
You're called the same thing so many times, you start to believe the identity that you are like portrayed as.
Yeah. Well, it's not. Yeah. It's not like I started to believe it. Always, it's just. Yeah.
And I have two more questions for you, if that's cool. As somebody who has seen you live, I saw you live on 2 occasions, the Irving Plaza show and Gramercy show. Shout out to my friends in Black Anvil. But, I always thought that seeing you live is a completely different experience than just listening to the album. When you're playing live versus, playing in a studio, is it a completely separate energy executing your material live than when you're, in songwriting mode?
In the studio is completely different than live, for sure. I feel much more comfortable on stage in front of my fans than in some kind of studio. And studio is like everything comes down to that, and then you have to think about the smallest little fucking thing. The picking, all the smallest little detail. But when you're on stage, well, you got your sound, you got your shit going, and then sometimes I can't even hear anything, but I just hope that it's coming out in the PA, because, the monitors are sometimes on and sometimes off, and sometimes you only hear the drums and stuff. So you have to just go with it, in a way. And then for myself, that's perfect for me, actually, because I need to feel it, and that's why I never use these earplugs either. And my doctor said, but one time I talked to a doctor about it, and I thought it was strange why I didn't have any hearing problems after all these years, especially for the first 15 years we were in this concrete little room playing on 11. Because the cymbals make so much noise, we just have to crank up everything to max. And my doctor said there is positive and negative noise. It's like when you walk past a jackhammer, you crunch yourself, and that's hurting your ear. But when you are listening into the noise with pleasure, you just open up everything. It's not all the muscles are relaxed and ready for the noise to come in. And that's why I didn't have any hearing loss or problems, because I always considered it as a positive noise.
And the final question I wanted to ask you is, and I don't even know if you realize this, but there are so many bands I know who are playing music because they were inspired by Mayhem, whether it is Behemoth or more new age black metal bands. You know, Frank from Metal Injection, he holds you guys as great idols. Like, when you hear on how a younger musician or a very successful band has taken inspiration from you, does that inspire you at all in a way or touch you in a certain way?
Yeah, of course it does. It's the best kind, if you call it critic that a musician can get, is that other musicians pick up on what you do and do their version of that and take your ideas to the next level where you like I would never thought about, you know. So that's very fucking interesting in all the ways. And of course I'm flattered. I feel flattered, you know. Of course, nothing. I never took anything for granted in my life. So all my fans, I never took them for granted. So I really appreciate all of our fans, and when it comes to the musicians that get inspired by us, I mean that's nothing better for a musician to hear that. It's that's awesome.
Like when Behemoth was playing like a sold out show in front of like I think 3,000 people in New York City, like I think I heard one of them say this is for Mayhem who inspired us and stuff. So.
That's awesome because a lot of people can get to their heads, you know, and they can be, you know, like distracted from where they came from and lose themselves down the way. But Nergal obviously is down to earth guy, and that and when they pull big crowds and name drop us, that's good. That's I like that. It's good to hear.
So before we go, I'd like to thank you so much for your time today. Before we drink and listen to the new record, is there just anything else you would like to promote for Mayhem? I know you have a couple of dates that you have announced, but I'd imagine it's a new record cycle. We'll be seeing you a lot on the road, right?
Yeah, the tour starts. The world tour starts in a little bit over the week from now in Europe. 5 weeks, and then it's just ongoing.
But thank you so much, Necrobutcher. Everybody, we are here with Necrobutcher of the almighty Mayhem Pickup Demon. When it comes out, this is Alex from Heavy New York. We'll see you next time.